All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. We'll stretch out a bit.
Okay.
And roll the shoulders.
I had a horrible stiff neck.
Oh, yeah, that'll happen.
For a couple of weeks, and between massage and I found a chiro that does a good job.
Great.
I got it. It's finally.
Yeah, you got to find what works for you to keep all those muscles relaxed and loose. The more relaxed and free it is, the more open and free your voice can be. All right, open up the rib cage, take a deep breath, and hiss. Good. Yeah, let it all out. And we'll sigh this time. Oh. Good, and a hum. Siren on anew. Good, and a lip bubble. Good, see if you can loosen that up and relax that a little bit more. Good, so do you hear and feel that little bit of tension at the very beginning? When it loosens up. Listen to me one more time. Versus where the start is already the relaxed place. As soon as you start, you're noticing that it's tight and then releasing it. Try to notice that before you start. In the breath, release all of that. Try it without pitch once. One more time. Good, and try to start it on pitch. Yep. Good. Yeah, so it's the onset, the start of the tone that's coming along with a little bit of tension, which you'll probably notice in the songs as well, that like the start of the notes are a little bit tighter than as you go through the note. So that's more about anticipating the sound, making the sound in your head, being able to hear that inside before you start, as opposed to adjusting to the sound as it comes out, which is really hard. I mean, that just takes years and years of practice and really paying attention to your sound, so totally normal, totally fine. Good, let's do just some hums to get the voice moving. Breath if you can. Nice. Can you try to avoid scooping onto that top note? Better. Good job. Yeah, watch that scoop. One more. Nice. Open up to ah. Good. Be careful of stretching the neck and the head up there for those top notes. Ah, ah. Pick a spot. It can be right above my head. Just kind of keep nice and stable. If it helps you, you can tilt a little bit down on the top note. That'll help break you of the habit of moving up with the notes. So, ah. Try that once. Just tilt your head down on the top note. Ah. Good. Tilt down a little bit of your chin when you get to that top note. Oh, yeah, just that much. If you practice it that way for a little bit, that'll help break you of the habit of moving your head up and down with the pitches.
Normally, I don't move my head quite so much.
Exactly. Yeah, no, and I haven't noticed it a ton with you before as well, but it's just, it's one of those things that you get in the habit of very easily. Tenors, they'll call them turtleneck tenors, and so like every high note is like as if you're poking out of a turtleneck. So yeah, you want to try and keep stable, and the motion in the opposite direction isn't necessary. It doesn't really help much, but it does help you break the habit.
Sure.
And so it can be a little bit of an extra aid when you're going for those high notes to think, tilt down a little bit. It'll help you avoid stretching up like that. And vice versa. When you're going to the super low notes, tilt up a little bit, and that'll keep you from going, oh, like sitting down on the chords. You want to lift up a little bit as you go down, oh, relax it. Go up a little bit. The goal is to be neutral the whole time, but because we have those ingrained habits from years of just kind of following the notes with our heads, it's good to try and break that with the opposite direction. Keep going on. Good. Can you warm that up a little taller? Nice. Love how you warm up and and make a beautiful tone on the last note every time. That's a really hard thing for a lot of singers, and you do it way better than most of my students. Is you have this nice, warm richness on the last note. A lot of people just kind of throw away the last note. Ah. And for you, it's ah. You finish the phrase, which is lovely. You should do that in every song, every phrase, all the time. The start of the first note is a little bit aggressive. I'm hearing a glottal stop at the start.
Okay.
If you can start with open chords, a little imaginary H, maybe like a little baby H in parentheses. It's a lot warmer sound instead of you hear that little click and jump. So try that one more time. Where are we? We're around here, okay? Try that with a little mini H on the start, but keep doing what you're doing at the end. It's perfect. Yep. Good. Warm up those first two notes. Good. Try one more. Lovely, lovely. Zing, zing, za. Nice and bright and ringy in the front of the face. Feel free to use your fingers on your cheekbones if that helps. Zing, zing, za. Zing, zing, za. Zing, zing, za. And I love that you are one of my few people that I work with who stays engaged all the way through the warm-ups. There's a lot of people just zing, zing, za. It's like, okay, I'm just warming up. But every time I look up, it's zing, zing. You're telling me a story. You're using your face. Like that's what, if you get in the habit there, you don't have to turn it on when you're doing a song. If you do every time you sing, it's bright eyes, bright cheeks, engaged face, then you don't have to go, okay, I'm singing a song now. What's my character? How do I, blah, blah. Just know, I'm about to sing, so I'm going to use my face. Very nice. Keep it up. Zing, zing, za. Zing, zing, za. Zing, zing, za. Good. A little darker on the bottom. Zing, zing, za. Get into that full chest. Zing, zing, za. Zing, zing, za. Good. Try one more. Zing, zing, za. Good. Can you try that one more time and give me a little more volume? It's going a little bit quiet and breathy down the bottom there. I want to hear your full chest. Okay. Za. Zing, zing, za. Yeah, try one more. Same sound. Zing, zing, za. Yeah, when you need that power, that's okay. Now the breathy, this is more relaxed, kind of more free, a little bit head voicey sound you were doing before is fine if it's a sensitive, gentle ballad, something like that. But in some moments, you might need a little bit more richness on the bottom, and you have it. So use it when you got it. When you warm it up here, especially the zing zing za, the singy, any of the stuff I do that's like a chesty low warm up, feel free to go full into that chest sound and give a little bit more power on the bottom there, just to keep that part of your voice in use. Because it's not going to come up that often in choir singing. It's not even going to come up that often in solo singing at a church. But like there may be times, and even Eagle's Wings, and he will raise you up is much better than and he will raise you up on eagle's wings. If you can get that full sound on the bottom notes, raise you up on eagle's wings. You can lighten up as you get higher, but whenever you need it on those rich low places, it can be really helpful. My favorite example for that is
they did do a recording at church
on
that,
that,
and it's really I was pleased with it.
Wonderful. Well, I hope you'll send it to me.
Maybe when I see you the next time, I can bring.
Yeah, I would love that.
My CD player.
Perfect.
Now
Yeah, anytime you can play me a live recording, that's
Boys
really good.
Best Buys are no longer selling CDs.
Yeah. No, but anytime we can do a recording of a live performance, that really helps because it's very rare for your live performance to be as good as your technique is when you're just one-on-one with me, because there's all the distraction of people in front of you and you don't have a coach there to remind you of like all, even just looking at my body, if I just do this, you'll open up a little bit more. And and I'm not there in your audience, so it's very easy to slack into those things. So it's very likely that you're going to do 85 to 95% of the stuff we do here in a live performance, but I don't know which things are not going to show up there. So when I see or hear a recording, I'm like, oh, okay, she has the tone and she has the breath support, but she's really lacking on the phrasing. You know, or the posture is good, but the breath support is a little bit faulty. And like, because there's things that you can do well here that you can't necessarily do well in front of a crowd, and there are things that you can. And so it's better to know that, because I only know when you get to a mastery level within the one-on-one setting. So then when I hear that, I can say, okay, I thought she was perfect at that, but the edge of that technique goes away once there's the stress of being in front of a crowd. So that's really helpful. And it might just be like, oh, she's got everything perfect. That's wonderful. I thought that we needed more work on this, but it's already perfect, and we can move on to more concepts. So wonderful. Good. Let's get into the high stuff. Ha, 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 that low Santa belly bounce. Ho, ho, ho. Ha, 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 ha. Ha, 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 ha. Ha, ha, ha. Good. Relax into that breath. Good. Open the top. There it is. Good. Try one more. Good. Very nice. That was really nice. We capped out at the B flat that time, and there was a little bit of hesitancy on that top, but it still came out. It was still fine. Like I talked before about how there's a difference between singing a note and hitting a note. So like you hit the B flat, you sang the A, but you hit the B flat. Like that, but that's good, because like eventually maybe you can sing the B flat. And that's fine. And as a soprano 2, you never need anything. An A is beyond what you'll ever need. And so if you have a good A, that's nice. You can use that if you need to in any given song. You can use it once or twice in a solo setting or whatever. But if your A and your B flat get stronger, then your F and your E and your E flat and your G get much stronger too. Yeah, so the easier the stuff that you don't even need to sing, the stuff that's beyond your range, is the easier that gets, the easier it gets a little bit lower than that too. Because if you're just, one of the things I tell a lot of the students is that you should try to set up your repertoire whenever you're performing so that you're never singing your lowest note, your highest note, your loudest note, your quietest note, your fastest note, your slowest note. Like whatever the edge of your capacity is, you shouldn't be putting that into public. Like save yourself like 5% wiggle room on the ends of what you can, the absolute slowest you can sing, the absolute loudest you can sing, the absolute highest you can sing, whatever it is. Like save yourself that 5% room that like, this is my warm-up space, this is my training space, this is my practice space, but I don't perform here. I perform in the 95% of stuff that sounds really, really solid and that it is really good most of the time. And like, occasionally, if you need to go there, sure, fine. But that was one of the biggest mistakes of my whole life as a singer, is that I would get the high note that was like the highest note I could do well, and then I would pick songs that showed off that high note instead of going like 1 or 2 steps below that. And it was, whenever I pick stuff that's 1 or 2 steps below my top note, it's so much better because it's so consistent. And I don't have to struggle so much to get that. It's not like that worry of, is the note going to come out today? I think every singer has those moments where even Idina Menzel, cracked all over Let It Go in one of her performances out there, because like that's pretty much the top of where her belt goes. And so like if you bump that down a half step or a whole step, even if you wake up sick or you're out all night or you're around a smoky bar or whatever the night before, like you're still gonna have those notes. Whereas the absolute top notes, they're gonna fade the second anything goes wrong. You just didn't get enough water the last day. You lose your top notes. But you'll strengthen those notes that you can, if you consider the F sharp G your top notes and just warm up to an A, B flat, B, then you will never have a problem reaching those E flat, F sharp G range if you can comfortably get above that. So just because you can sing those top notes, don't think, I'll show that off in public. Like, that might just be for this space. Same thing on the low end. Like the lowest notes you can sing are not designed for public performance. Those are, you warm up there, and then 2 notes above that is gonna sound beautiful and rich and warm all the time. Lovely. Let's do... Sie So a nice little bounce on the top there, a little crescendo, and then legato on the way down. It goes over the beat. Start to get more head voice on the top there. Beautiful, good job. Can you give me more of a blossoming crescendo on the top there? Lighten up and get a little bit more floaty head voice on the top. There's a little press. Beautiful. Open up that soft palate in the back as well. Beautiful. Last one. Whenever you're on those top notes, work toward thinking about a little bit more warmth in the sound, a little bit more vibrato, a little bit more open space in the soft palate. You have a tendency to make those a little bit, I don't have the right word for it. I still struggle with this because
Straight tone?
Yeah, so straight tony, yeah, but it lacks warmth is the best way of describing it, because it's not like you're trying to make it straight tone. So like, I don't like to use that word because straight tone is a thing that people can do intentionally. And like the sound I get there is like, you're not going for a straight tone sound. It's just kind of coming out that way. So there's a difference for me in the sound of which is just sort of the incidental straight tone thing versus an intentional where I'm trying to sing straight tone. You know, there's a different quality of the sound. So it's just sort of flat. You know, it's like beige. It's white. There's no color. You know, to it. Not flat in terms of pitch, but just like affect. There's no texture. You know, it's a flat canvas. It's not like a stucco wall. You know, we want that texture in the sound. So when you get to those top ones, instead of it comes mostly from the high larynx, the low soft palate, the kind of throat tension thing. Try that one on a lip bubble once. Let's see if we can do that. Good. Yeah, so you're down the octave with me, which is fine. Try it once there. Good. Yep, try it up the octave here. Yeah, on a lip bubble. Yeah, interesting how it goes away as it comes down. So play with that one. Play with that one at home a little bit. Play with doing some lip trills in the high stuff. You'll notice that those places where the lip bubble stops are the places where the tension starts. That's why the lip bubble is such a useful tool, because it's diagnostic. It tells you something about your voice, whereas a lot of the other warm-ups are designed to make your voice better. This one is diagnostic. It says, oh, there's a thing that's wrong in your voice. And what's really cool about it is it's the diagnosis, but it's also the cure. Like, there's no other thing you need to do. You just need to keep lip bubbling until the lip bubble comes out. Like, it's not like, oh, because there's tension coming in the middle of my range here, I need to do this other exercise. Like, no, just keep doing the lip bubbles. But it tells you where that tension's going, so you can focus that. It might just be the middle of your range. It might just be the top. But the top note came out. That was really interesting. It went... It was like on the way down. So it was like the transition back into your chest where you start to tighten up and apply more pressure. So play with that. And we'll continue to do that in lessons as well. But play with that at home. And just that is the sort of thing, like negotiating your break, that you don't need to be able to consciously explain and say like, well, when I go from a C to a B flat, my voice starts to get, like, you just need to feel it in your body. Like when you're riding on a bike and balancing, you don't need to explain how your muscles are moving to keep you, like you just need to feel it. It's something you learn in your body. And that sort of thing, like releasing the tension in your mid-range, is more of a embodied physical learning than it is a like cognitive, I have the concept learning. You know? So if you just practice through that and just regular on the sirens, but try also doing some scales. And see if you're smiling because you know if you tried to do that right now, like it would stop halfway through. And like when you notice those places, stop, go back to the top and work it through again, and work, and you'll get a little bit further. It's just like yoga. You know, you stretch, and then you stretch a little bit more, and then you stretch a little bit more, and you stretch a little bit more, and eventually you get the full position. And so if you can get that nice and easy and free and open, it'll help breath support, it'll help relaxation and freedom there, and it'll help you bridge over the break. Like the lip bubbles, if I could give nothing else, like if all I had was 30 seconds to work with a singer, I would just say lip bubble every day.
Yeah.
Lip bubble every day for 15 seconds, and it'll make your voice better than anything else you could be doing with that time. You know, realistically, we just
well,
spend.
I do it a lot more
Yeah,
than I
you should.
used to.
You
I'll
should.
have to say that.
You should. I mean, I do it all day long to the
Yeah.
point where I forget that I do it all the time, and I'll do it in like job interviews and on dates. And so I just boom, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm just keeping my voice free and just relax. But literally, if we spent the whole lesson just lip bubbling every song you did and like lip bubbling on every exercise, it would be just as useful as anything else we could do with the time. It just at a certain point that gets boring and repetitive, and so you can't spend an hour just lip bubbling. But if you could, it would make your voice a lot better. Anyway, very, very nice, very, very nice. Can I hear just a quick vowel one before we move on, just so we've got those locked in? E-A-O. Keep the space consistent, nice and bright in the front. E-A-O. Good. Don't make it any darker than it has to be. There's a little bit of just make it a little more natural speech sound. Yeah, careful of the oh. Keep that space in the back when you switch to the O. Yep, that was better. Thank you. One more. Yeah, that little bit of darkening in the vowel that you do there, which I think is probably like from a choir, you know, it's a layover from choir. It tends to droop your pitch a little bit. So there's a little bit of instead of right on top of the pitch. When you get too dark, the pitch starts to droop a little bit. So just bring a little bit more ring and brightness into that. Lift the cheekbones. Get the front teeth into it a little bit. Doesn't need to be super smiley. Doesn't need to be super kindergarten-y. But keep the space, but keep it bright. And sort of bring it out into the front. Yep. Beautiful, beautiful. So when you listen to the recording there, you'll hear the difference. It's much more in tune as soon as you do that. So it's not that you can't sing those big dark vowels in tune. It's that they're harder to sing since you're used to sing. You're not used to singing with this big open space all the time. So when you go for that big open space, you're just it droops, and you're not used to adjusting that tone. So it's a combination of space in the back and brightness in the front. It's not the same thing in both places. It's not just big and tall all the way across the instrument, because that gives you a flat, dark, overly muddy kind of sound. That's big, tall all the way across the instrument. And then if I do bright, ringy all across the instrument, it's so I want that in the front and this in the back. Best of both worlds. And that's hard because you have to think about two things simultaneously. And you can't do that while you're in the middle of a song in front of a performance and you're doing all, you can't be thinking about all that stuff and remembering your words and paying attention to the pianist and the lights in your eyes and all those things. So that has to become an embodied thing where it's just, you're not thinking about balancing on the bike while you're on it. You're just thinking about pedal, pedal, pedal. Okay, I'm gonna go over there now. Okay, I'm gonna go over there. You're not thinking, okay, how do I adjust my abs to keep me from falling over and keep my balance there? So you have to, that just has to become an embodied thing when you've practiced it so much that it's automatic. That in general, when you sing, it's bright in the front, tall in the back.